This is the Wrestling for Life Network, and we are here for another live stream. Tonight, it is all about Clash in Paris. We got 5 matches on the card. We're going to go through the entire card, break it down, give our thoughts, give our opinions, give our, thoughts of what matches should have been on the card. I'm excited for this one. This should be good. Let's get into it. Like I said, this is the Wrestling for Life Network. We are back for another live stream, and it's all about Clash in Paris. If you don't know who I am Anthony, and that is Big Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its tag stream champions of the world. The man who puts the T in TNA, Ringside Anthony. I am Big Nick, and yes, we've got Clash in Paris. I've got to get into this already of, is it more of a finger painting or is it a masterpiece out here? I know we were talking about this briefly before it went live, but this kind of, it's 5 matches. Some of it's been exciting, some of it not so much of it. It kind of seems, I've heard people call it a house show.
I've heard people call it a house show too. I don't know. The match card, I don't want to say it looks terrible, but it doesn't really look strong. I know you use the term a lot for, I think it's Forgotten Son when it comes to like a pay-per-view that people seem like they forgot about. And it seems like this one is like one of those ones that like kind of slipped up under the radar. And then on top of that, like for the ticket prices to be how they are, to have this like 5 match card for, Paris, I don't know. It seems a little lackluster.
I don't know, they can pay that over there and all that. But yeah, it is a bit of that redheaded stepchild. It's the bastard child of the family almost. It goes back to feeling very much like the B show pay-per-view. Is that because we're coming off of SummerSlam and all of that now we're into what feels, I don't know if it's just more to appease the European crowd and everything. I mean, it's like a backlash. It's kind of one of those, if it's just kind of a B show pay-per-view. It's not a WrestlePalooza out here or anything. But yeah, I was hoping that, and we can talk about it briefly, of like Stephanie was going to be on the card. We were going to have a women's title match until pregnancies happened. And there's some other matches I feel that should be on here that aren't. So again, maybe they add something during SmackDown, but we'll see. I doubt it.
Yeah, we were looking forward to Naomi defending the title against Stephanie Valkyrie, and that's not happening because of Naomi's pregnancy. And I thought they would somehow weasel the women's world title into this pay-per-view somehow. I don't know if they could have threw together a battle royal to name someone else to have like 2 competitors for Clash in Paris to crown a new women's world champion. But yeah, that match is not happening. In the match that you mentioned before we went live, AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio not being on the card. How you feeling about that?
Well, yeah, I do got to bring up, I saw George mention it at some point here and everything, Cherokee did. But I feel that this one should be on the show, should be on the card. It's been a few that's been going on for a brief minute now at this point. I feel like it's got enough build, and that's the thing, is like the women's title match. If they just slap together a battle royal, it might feel a little rushed, but it also, you don't know who's going to win. Maybe it's going to be Steph. Maybe that was the plan all along. Right. But you kind of need something that's got some build, which Dom and AJ does. And they're denying us getting AJ with the phenomenal chants and the songs and everything in Paris. I'm missing my AJ chants. Well, there's, da, 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 and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We're missing all the famous chants that they gave AJ Styles a few years ago when I think it was in France, right? So yeah,
when I did Backlash in Paris.
Yeah, so
Backlash in France.
Yeah, we're definitely missing that, and I think that's one of the matches that could have been on the card too. I thought they've, from what I've seen on social media, they've kind of built that feud up very nicely between those two. But they had a match at SummerSlam, which I believe Dom won. So yeah, this is a match that could have been added to the card this past week, and it wasn't. And it's kind of a shame because I feel like this feud has been carrying a little bit. So
Well,
it's kind of bad that this one is not on the card.
oh yeah, Uncle Alan's showing up all the time of just he's in this outfit, he's in that outfit, this, that, and the third. And you mentioned about it being only 5 matches, and now ticket prices and everything like that have gone up. Of do you need to get into that 7, 8 match range to really kind of make it more bang for your buck, your value price?
Yeah, I feel like they should. I've been to plenty of WWE pay-per-views in my heyday. And so I would like to see a larger crowd with the prices that we're paying. Now, granted, when I went to Evolution, I only paid I think it was 130, which I was kind of shocked. 130 for lower bowl tickets to Evolution. And they gave us, I believe it was 8 matches, 7 matches, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that card was more stacked out.
Yeah, that card was real stacked, and I enjoyed it. I actually had tweeted out probably when Evolution was announced that I don't want to go to an Evolution pay-per-view and it only be 5 matches, and we haven't had this pay-per-view in almost 8 years. So I think they did it justice there. I know Slammiversary and Slammiversary, SummerSlam was 2 nights. And what we got like 6 matches on both nights. So that was great. I think we can squeeze 2 more matches in on these smaller pay-per-views at least to get us to 7. I even know I think Backlash was 4 matches, I believe, at one point this past year's Backlash. So
Right.
we can squeeze like 7 matches in, I feel.
Well, and you're not the AEW route of you've got 10, 12, 14, all of that, but you've got, actual solid feuds. Like some people, I think it was Cherokee again, also mentioned about like a Drew Randy or a Drew Cody could have very much been on this show as well. Now, granted, I know they're holding Drew Cody for WrestlePalooza, same thing with Brock, John Cena. So you're going to have some stuff held back for the bigger shows, the show that they're doing for the debut on ESPN and all of that. But you've got enough feuds going on that you're telling me you couldn't put a tag match on here. You couldn't do something with the Wyatts. You couldn't do something with, MFT, Jacob Fatu out here. Now, granted, Jacob, if he can get to Paris, but yeah.
Right. No, and I think the biggest thing that bothers me is like the night before the big pay-per-view, they have championship matches on SmackDown, which you could really have. You can throw one of them on the pay-per-view. Like tomorrow, I think Charlotte and Alexa Bliss are defending their titles against the Secret Hervis. Like that's something you can have on the pay-per-view, I feel like. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I like the smaller cards. I do, but sometimes, like in these cases where I feel like the overseas fans don't get us enough, or don't get
Right.
WWE enough, I feel like they should get larger cards, honestly.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I was going to transition to our larger chat and everything with that. I was trying to find the right way to do it. But real quick, I'll rattle off some names of Zach. What up? Garrett. What up? Looking forward to the predictions. It might be a brisk jaunt through all of these because it's all of 5 matches, but there's still some things we need to unpack here. Cherokee again. I said, what's up? Mega out there. Oh, and real quick, too, from last night, and I will click on the Twitch one because we also have the Twitch, folks. Top 3 in the chat from the Dynamite stream last night is Damian, Denisha, and Jose. Shout out. Yeah, Clay, what up? Trey, what up? Daniel Barry Sports. Did I do my best KJ impression out here? Which, by the way, I know MDB was giving KJ all the love for these graphics. Of he's got that Van Gogh touch there. He hasn't lost the ear yet. He's not full Darby there. He's played maybe with some ear mutilation, but we'll see. Yes, KJ's the man. Shout out the brother from another mother who's on vacation. We'll be back this Sunday for Clash in Paris. The return of KJ. Jose, what up? MDB. If the graphics were moving, I'd consider this top 5, but these are top 7 though. Well, I duly noted, and I'm sure the word will get back to him, and he might upgrade something here. But Ronald, what up? Spaz with a $10 super chat. Hey guys, editing a Clash preview to be up later. Fair warning, got one no co-host. I'm in a bad mood, and I spent it half on Raja Jackson. But if y'all want to hear me try, it'll be up later. Well, no, again, very much fuck Raja Jackson. I think we're long enough in the stream I can get away with saying that. But 100% shout out, my guy. Appreciate you. Scrolling. And again, folks, let us know. Are you excited for Clash in Paris? Is it, again, like I said, is it finger painting out here? Is it paint by numbers? Is it watercolor? That should be the scale, not 1 through 10, of what type of art style do you think that this show is? Because they went very, like I said, the Van Gogh, the Starry Night and everything. It's a nice visual, but the visual is almost better than the match card.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree there.
JV, I don't know if it works in the same tone of trying to do Big Nick in the same tone of Roman Reigns. The hockey. Cheers, brothers. Haven't seen the live broadcast this week. Hope you're well. Well, I hope you're well too. We've been good. Had Dynamite last night, which was interesting to say the least.
I didn't even watch.
Don't worry, too many people else didn't, because I believe it was a 585 for the ratings and everything. What was interesting, I had Geekbox out there with me, and he very much not a AW watcher, because has to go through leaps and bounds and everything to go and watch it out there. Not impressed. Not a good first impression on the box. Pause.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it's a struggle to watch AEW. It definitely is a struggle.
Well, it's you got to have the momentum coming off of a pay-per-view, but we're going back into the momentum on this pay-per-view. Byron, what up? I don't believe we have a slide for this match because it's just the first match or the match they most recently announced and everything, but we've got Nikki's in Paris versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Of how you feeling about this? Does this where Nikki wins something? Does she stay around? Is this her swan song?
I think Nikki is staying around. I feel like she's kind of made that known that she was like, I'm going to be here for a last run. Honestly, between this feud between these two has been fun to watch. The back and forth, the first back and forth where Becky mentioned John Cena, chef's kiss to Becky Lynch for pulling that out and having that line in there. But I like the war of words that they've been exchanging over the past couple of weeks. Even this past Monday, the war of wars between these two, when I thought Nikki Bella was calling her the big C word and it was just a coward. Because that shocked me. I was like, whoa, you can even look at Becky's face. She was like, whoa. So the exchange between these two have been great. I think the match could be good as well. I know you and KJ are not the biggest Bella Twins fans. I do like the Bella Twins. I'm not like a big fan or anything like that. I do like them being around in the WWE. Nikki is no stranger to getting pops every week. She, comes out to a big pop. So I am excited for the match. I don't know who wins. I still think I'm taking Becky Lynch. I don't think Becky Lynch drops the title to Nikki Bella, but if Nikki Bella does pull it out, I'll be shocked. I'll be the first to say I'll be shocked.
See, and you touch on a really good point, and I've said Nikki Bella is, to me, she's pretty much not a professional wrestler. She's a reality star more than anything. Her back and forth with Becky, and respectfully, actually, I dare say, being able to halfway hold her own, like you even said, with the big C words and everything, with the man Becky Lynch back, really impresses me with Nikki. I still want to see how she is in ring, because that's always been my biggest flaw with her. Her sister's insufferable, but Nikki's very much of that Divas era that isn't exactly known for being the best in ring. I wonder if this is where we could see heel face losing my mind Bailey show up out here, gets involved in this, because I'm still holding out hope that we get Bailey versus Becky, whether it's for the title or not. And it seems we've got to do something with this interesting Bailey character that's coming out now. And she's already been involved around this title with Lyra. Does Nikki win so Lyra can get a shot back at it? There's the weird ethos around this match that could go a different way.
Yeah, I think we do lead back to Becky versus Bailey, and that match could be something they, lead down the line to at WrestlePalooza. I know KJ and I have both said that we believe their feud doesn't need to have a title, right? So playing, second fiddle here. What if Nikki does win the title and Bailey basically costs uh Becky Lynch the title and Nikki wins the title. And then we move to Becky and Bailey without the title, with Nikki holding down the mid card division. She drops the title to whoever is, up next. But we could go that route. I'm not saying I want that to happen, but I'm saying if we didn't have that feud for the title, they could go that route with Nikki Bella taking the title off of Becky Lynch.
See, now we're out here in Europe. We've got the Van Gogh painting behind us and everything. So you're going to have me out here quoting the classics and everything. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I would love me some Becky Bailey. I'm fine if it's not for a title because it's a personal feud, and that's always been why I want to see it, because it should be the biggest blood feud. It's the only 4 horsewomen feud you can do at this point. Right. That we haven't seen, and that you can legitimately pull off because you've only got 3 out of the 4. But also, then I think if Nikki wins, then we get Nikki versus Lyra. And I don't want to hear those fucking promo segments. I'm sorry. I don't want to see them have. I was just praising Nikki of how she can still cut a halfway decent promo, but it might be the caliber of who she's going against.
Yeah.
If she's out there with Lyra, regardless of how you feel about Lyra in the ring, hasn't been the greatest on the microphone. And her versus Nikki in a promo off. Oh,
Yeah. When it comes to Nikki, I don't think me personally, I don't think Nikki is a bad promo. I think she has to have the right person. Going back to some of her feuds before she, retired the first time. She faced Natalia. They had some good back and forth promos. She faced Carmella. They had some good back and forth promos. Her feud with Charlotte, where she dropped the Divas title to Charlotte, that was good too, but she was always up with somebody that could hold their own, which probably brought the best out of Nikki. So if they transition to Lyra, I'm kind of in agreement with you. I think Nikki could potentially hold her own, but Lyra is not there yet. Lyra has all of the in-ring ability in the world, to run a division, but she doesn't have that promo skills, and that's kind of sad. And I think she'll get there. She's still, fresh, so I think she'll
right.
get there. But I agree with you wholeheartedly that if we transition to that way, it might not look the best on both of them.
Yeah, and Anthony even out there saying Anthony on Anthony agreements here of if Nikki wins, Lyra taking the belt. MDB saying Lyra can cut promos. When was it the promo where she was wearing the highest of high heels and everything, and then literally did a can heel turn, spin around, and everything? Yeah, Lyra's been on this upward trend of her getting to where she can't challenge Becky anymore, has kind of been a thing. Maybe she's the one that has a feud with Bailey. To me, Bailey is the most interesting aspect here. And Jose, I like this question. What's Bailey's motivation? We don't know. Well, her motivation is that Becky's outshined her and just big lead her the whole time and everything, and talks down to her when they're equals. They're literally part of the same unofficial faction and everything like that. They all came in together. But I really am intrigued by what they're doing with Bailey with this. Is she going to be a heel? Is she a baby face? She's Randy Orton. I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. They understand.
Yeah, it's been so weird when it comes to Bailey. I've watched some of the promos, or that they've run with Bailey, and like it's so confusing. Some people say maybe Hugger Bailey is coming back. I don't know. I'm excited to see
She
how
could
they
be
kind
a
of
psychotic hugger and everything, to where she hugs you and it's that like that. All right, you're holding on
right.
a little too long now.
Right, yeah. I don't know if they could do like a heel version of the hugger, but they could. So it's interesting how Bailey fits into this Intercontinental Championship, scene.
Right. That's why I think she could get involved. I'm gonna ultimately prediction. I don't know why I turned into doing his voice, but Sean, I see you. So chat, let us know who you got for this match. I'll take Nikki. I know I want to take Becky. It makes the most sense, but I want the Becky Bailey feud so bad. I will take Lyra versus Nikki to get Bailey involved in this. She costs Becky the belt, and then that's where that feud spins off. Because we've already done the Lyra thing. This should be the end of Becky and Nikki. So if Becky wins, then what? Then it's got to be Bailey, I would hope, either way.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, if Becky wins, like, what's next? Do we run that feud with the title? Which they can. It's nothing wrong with running the feud without the title or with the title, but I'm really surprised you're taking Nikki. I don't know why. I'm really surprised.
No, don't worry. It's like the time that KJ takes Jody Thread. It's just one of those of you were just trashing the shit out of them for 5 minutes, but you're picking them to win.
I think with my final prediction, I'm gonna take Becky just to be safe and to be a little bit more difficult. But if Nikki wins, like I said, I'm not a Nikki hater. I do appreciate the Bella Twins or like the Bella Twins. So if Nikki wins, I won't be upset. I will be shocked though, and that shock will come across my face and maybe across the TikTok feed.
There you go. But Cabral, I see you. Bash 8 sitting there hoping Anthony well wishes and everything. Hopefully you're feeling better.
Yes,
So you're on all the vitamins.
I feel a little bit better.
See, he's taking the actual vitamins we take, special vitamins over here. Becky Stompers, the worst line since suffering succotash. Yeah, that's kind of the peak of Lyra's promo ability. And yes, I do see quickly, I will acknowledge as an NFL fan, I see everyone losing their mind about Dallas and the trade with Green Bay, and it's still insane. I can't believe it happened. Micah Parsons got traded. Yes, football is for a Sunday. This is a Thursday, but we do have a good old-fashioned Donnybrook on our hands. I don't know what this fully entails. I think it's another way to say no disqualification. How are you feeling? Sheamus, Rusev. Has Rusev been much of something since he's came back? Yeah.
Okay, so first off, I think this might be the second Donnybrook match in WWE history. I know the first one involved
the other one
Sheamus.
had like an actual like bar and stuff at ringside.
I was just about to say, yeah, I think they had a bar set up and stuff like that. That match was fun, and I kind of want to go back and rewatch it now. When it comes
to just always involve Sheamus.
I think so. When it comes to Rusev, though, he had the surprise of coming back to WWE. I do feel like it's tapered off, right? I don't think it's worse than anything he's been in AEW. He just wasn't being utilized. He's being utilized here right now in WWE, but I think they fed him to Sami Zayn. I think Akira Tozawa was involved when he first arrived on the scene too. So it's like they haven't really done much with him. This has been the most interesting thing with Rusev since he returned. I think I was here on stream for one of the matches on Raw where he faced Sheamus, and the crowd was not into the match, but the match, me and KJ, we were into it, and it was really good. So to see this, I don't know if this is the end. I hope it would be the end between these two, but to see it in this Donnybrook match, and if it's anything like the last one that they had, I think this will be fun.
Yeah, well, and this is again favorite theme of the channel and everything of the at least personally with me of this is big beefy boys slapping meat. Pause of this is one of those of two big beefy boys going at it, and we're gonna do Beats of the Bowery, we're gonna do the Accolade and everything. And do we need Rusev to get back more towards the Miro gimmick?
Yeah, we may need to do that, and we may need to have Rusev.
He should go by Miro right now. Fuck that Rusev shit anymore.
We do need to have Rusev in something. I'm not saying what he's doing with Sheamus is not meaningful, is not impactful, but we need him in something really, kind of strong. The U.S. title picture would be nice. potentially in the world title picture, but you know, you got big names there with Drew and Cody Rhodes and things of that sort. So we really need to push him towards some type of, he doesn't have to win the title off the bat, but you know, something in a strong feud that would make him seen more.
If this isn't the end, what's the stipulation that is the end? Because we've already seen them fight through a whole show. We've seen them go through this, that, and the third. This is literally, I think, almost their third match, a singles match between the two of them. It's finally got a stipulation. Does this kind of need to be the end? And do both guys just kind of where, like, I know you were mentioning the US title pictures that where both guys kind of go after this and everything.
Yeah, I feel like this
And they're
needs
both
to be,
mid card. Sorry.
yeah, I feel like this needs to end. I feel like you felt when they were running Drew and Damian Priest again at WrestleMania, I think it
Yeah.
was, and how you really wanted that to end. I feel like this needs to be the end. To answer your second part of that question, if there's somewhere they could go after this, if they don't end it here, you could end it. You can combine these two in a steel cage match and end it there. You know, if you wanted to do that. But I personally, I think this needs to end here, and maybe you can. I think this is where the draft needs to come in, right? Because it seems like
The
it seems,
mythical draft, if it's ever going to happen.
yeah, like, is it ever going to happen? I feel like we need a shakeup. We need fresh things going on. If you look at, and I know we're not talking about that, but I just want to bring this
No,
up.
go
If you
for it.
look at the WWE Women's Championship scene, we're going back to Nia Jax again. Like I said this like a month or so ago about Tiffany's reign. It's just been rinse and repeat. With we had the fresh Trish Stratus, we had the fresh Jade Cargill, but it's mostly been Nia Jax, right? And then we had the Charlotte, but it's mostly been Nia Jax the entire time. This is where we need to freshen up a little bit, and that comes here with Sheamus and Rusev. We need to freshen up. We need to do something different. Move these guys somewhere else.
Fair enough. Well, that ties in perfectly to be hockey out there saying of Rusev versus Sheamus and the does anyone truly care feud. You
Right.
said, well, if you love wrestling, if you're a wrestling fan and you just like to watch wrestling, you know, this is going to be a different thing. But the live audience, like you even said, they'll pop for the beats of the Boweries, but beyond that, they're kind of all right. And this is a thing because it's a thing.
Right. Right. And that's how the crowd really was in their match on Raw some weeks ago. It was like they cheered for the big moments, but excuse me, after that, it was like, do we really care? So I that comment by B Hockey is right on the money.
Right. Football is for Thursdays too, Nick. No, not good football. Sorry. But where was it? Lady B had a comment. If I could find you, I missed your Lady B, but I see you. I see Denisha and all of that. Do you have an actual prediction for this? Because yeah, I got one. I got one. I
Um
go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, because I've been basically saying how Rusev needs to be not utilized more, but just in something more impactful. I'm gonna take Rusev for the win.
Oh, fair enough. And there I found you, Lady B. What do we get after this feud? Will Miro get a push? Where does Sheamus go? Absolutely. And I hadn't thought about it until you really pointed it out. Of this fits so much of an example of why, even if we don't get a draft, we've had trades now happen. We've had, speaking of trades with the NFL, excuse me, we've had trades in WWE. We had LA Knight traded for Sami Zayn. So do
Right.
we need a shakeup in that way? Like that's even you mentioned with Tiffany's reign, the Raw Women's title, which again, Stephanie was supposed to be challenging for it on here. Naomi was supposed to be defending it. But we go back to Rhea, who's a name that's already been around there before. Raquel, who's already been around there before. Do we need a shakeups all the way around? So, like, I still want to see like a Rusev Jacob Fatu match somehow and everything. Of that works out there instead of them out there on Monday Night Raw. There's no one else that's big and beefy in that Intercontinental division. And I think that this is so set so much in it's Sheamus is the baby face. It's a Donnybrook match. It's his specialty and everything. It makes the sense that Rusev gets the win here. You do something with him to at least give him at this point the best catapult you can to keep moving up the card, because at this point it's been a slow bring into the fold. If it ain't gonna start working, it never gonna was. So yeah.
No, I agree with you. I really think, and like you said, if we don't have a draft, I think they did that one time, the trade window, and then they did I think Vince McMahon at that time, he called it the superstar shakeup, which I thought was
Yes.
pretty was pretty fun. I remember one shakeup very vividly when Alexa Bliss showed up on Raw, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, because I was a big Alexa Bliss fan and still is. But yeah, I think if we do something like that, just to freshen up, a little bit of everything, I think we can get the ball rolling and moving back on track a little bit with both shows. I know SmackDown, from what I've seen on social media, because I haven't been watching like each week, I know SmackDown has been the hardest hit shows with the IWC saying how bad it is. I haven't really seen much about Raw. But when it comes to SmackDown, for what I'm seeing on social media, is definitely the downer of the shows.
Raw is top heavy, and we'll talk about it because that's why they have a fatal four way for the world title. It is very top heavy of when it comes to Monday Night Raw. So you've got enough that'll carry 2 hours because you've got
Right.
4 or 5 solidified guys in the top picture here. Do you, and we're going halfway off topic here and everything, but do you do a draft to where you have almost like a protected draft or a fantasy draft or an expansion draft type of thing of you, if your brand, I can protect 10 people on my roster, everyone else is available to be selected. That's the way you get around of, well, John Cena, even though he's on a retirement tour, might be your number one overall pick, but he won't get picked until like the 7th round or something like that, because we've got to make sure, the Miz goes in the second type of thing. So if you do it to where Roman's not getting drafted, Cody's not getting drafted, shit like that, but a Rusev or a Sheamus, uh, um, uh, dare I say, a Jacob Fatu, your mid card and lower guys can be the ones that get drafted.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I think maybe at the last draft they did do something similar where the champions were protected. I think it was just like the two women's titles and the two main titles, they
Yeah,
were
I'm doing
protected.
doing even more than that. Do like you got 10 guys and gals you can pick that aren't available to be drafted. That can be a name that you even release. If these are the protected names, everybody else is available to get shaken up.
Yeah, no, and I like that idea. I think, and I really think, honestly, I think where the shakeup needs to happen, it's more in the mid card division. It's not in the main event scene. For me, it's
Right.
not. I think it's more in the mid card division. So if you do that, if you do the protected, 10 superstars, I think it could work and it could benefit both shows.
There you go. There you go. And I'm going to just remind you of, you thought this was going to go a half hour and we're 2 matches in. Just saying for anyone keeping track. We talk a lot and I still appreciate it. And I know we try and click on everybody's chats normally when we're doing the live streams, but we're doing the predictions. So we're trying not to be super long with it, even though we are. But yes, we do see you. We do appreciate y'all. Denisha, I'm not hating on Sheamus and Rusev because we even said we appreciate their matches and what they do. It's the larger crowd as a whole, the live audience and everything. Of yes, we may like big beefy boys slapping meat, but apparently the masses aren't for smacking asses. But yeah,
Yeah, like I said earlier, like I've really enjoyed this feud. It's been the crowd themselves that like haven't really enjoyed the feud. I just want personally for Rusev, and I'm not knocking Sheamus because I'm a big fan of Sheamus too. Personally, for somebody that just returned to the WWE, I kind of want them to be in a bigger picture. But I said the same thing about Naomi, and it took a year or so, and
mm-hmm.
they did some great things with Naomi. So maybe they could do the same, with Rusev.
There you go. There you go. Cooper, real quick, saying over on Twitch again, folks. Go watch us on Twitch, even if you're watching us on YouTube. Pull up the both of them, or at least hit a follow and everything. Watch for a little bit over there and everything. It just helps us become partners and everything over there. Helps keep expanding the empire out there. But hello, Nick and Anthony. Where's KJ been? KJ is on probably the first vacation I think the man's taken in 3 years, and
Right.
especially an extended vacation. So Yes, we've grown it enough of that. You know, we can still be having the keys out here to the the Ferrari. I feel like I'm Ferris Bueller. Dad's away, and I'm just making sure I get the car back in the garage before he shows back up. I wish Nick could have seen the face that gave him when he said that. Well, then just screenshot it and send it to me. Okay, you know how to reach out. Yes, long-winded like Jay's intro. As the only person who I think's been gassed before publicly on stream because I went so long on something. Yeah. But speaking of going long, let's get into match number 3 of. Again, this is not a main event. This is the first singles match that Roman's had pretty much since WrestleMania 40, 39, 40. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That this is basically like his first singles match since then. So when it comes to this one, everybody knows on here that I am not a Bronson Reed fan. I find him boring, even with the
Boo,
Chulapala or whatever that thing he wants to call around
boo,
his neck.
Buddhist man, Buddhist man.
I definitely I just can't get behind Bronson Reed. Roman Reigns, obviously, huge fan of Roman Reigns here. I've seen some discourse with this match on social media. I've seen people say Bronson Reed really needs to win this. And as much as I, don't want to agree with those folks, I think this could catapult Bronson Reed to something big if he beats Roman Reigns. When it comes to Roman Reigns, does he really need a victory here? Potentially so. I don't know. I'm not taking Bronson Reed in any way, shape, or form.
You
Even though
just
I
made the
agree with
entire
the
case to take
IWC.
Bronson Reed, though.
I'm gonna take Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns. See, and I'll tie this even halfway into last night, and part of why I had to crash out for a little bit during Dynamite. You had Daniel Garcia versus Jon Moxley, former world champion. All due respect to Daniel Garcia, TNT champion or former TNT champion, all of that. He was very much the young gun, the guy who taken a level up, being in the ring with Jon Moxley at that point. Yes, I even said that out loud. But to still win after taking or have it be so close after taking a paradigm shift on the ring steps, and then it's a roll up that costs the victory here in that match. It's just Bronson Reed being in this match is the big thing for Bronson Reed here. Of the fact that he's on the caliber, that he's working a story and an angle right now with Roman Reigns is the win. Of the tribal thief is over. They finally actually decided to do real merch with the tribal thief, and it's fucking great. And people calling out Roman's promo back at Bronson and everything like that didn't actually listen to it or whatever, because Roman's been on his peak game with all of this. And he's back to where there's some people I've seen calling to just put the title back on him and everything of that. Roman's working his way back towards that. And I think we're working towards a Roman versus Seth at Mania, probably for the title. And I think that coming out of this, you get Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker, because that's a match I really want to see. I really want to see this match, but I know Roman Reigns is winning this match, because as much as Bronson Reed is over with the tribal thief, as much as he can tsunami people and everything, this is Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns. Of that man is not taking an L. He's already had his shoes taken twice. You can take his shoes twice and still give him an L?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it's Roman Reigns. Like you're going through the top guy. I don't know if anybody. I don't remember which wrestling game it was. I think it might have been 2K24, where you had to beat Roman Reigns on legendary difficulty, which was very difficult. I got it, and I got the trophy for it. But this is what this is for Bronson Reed. You're facing the top guy, and Roman Reigns is the top guy without the championship, right? So I'm wholeheartedly with you on this one. This is all Roman Reigns. Bronson Reed's gonna get some good licks in, get some good moves in potentially, but this is all Roman Reigns. And like you said, this could lead to Seth and Roman at WrestleMania.
Roman Reigns at this point, I know Karen Cross did the whole thing and mentioned about it, and yes, still we want Cross, which will be interesting. I wonder if we dare see a sign, dare see a chant or anything of "We want Cross," and we'll have to translate it because it'll be in French over there. But Roman Reigns is the people's champion at this point. A bit of no matter what, he's just still kind of the guy. He doesn't have to be champion to be the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the top guy. You know, like I said, and like you just said, he doesn't need the championship at all. So, I think here we're both clear that like Roman Reigns is taking this.
Right. But again, folks, let us know if you disagree. As I got to get these off. And Spaz, I did see your $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I want to touch on it. Bring that up tomorrow when we have more time to talk about it, and we can talk about that. For those who don't know, there's the whole potential union issue in AEW. But tune in tomorrow for SmackDown. We'll talk about that more. But yeah, see, speaking of the guys and the man beside me very much deserves this chant, and it fits way more than trying to do Big Nick and Tony Reigns, Tony
That
Reigns.
does sound a lot better.
Yeah. See, even MDV put you over.
And then there's the haters called MDV.
He put you over, though.
He put tomatoes at the end, though.
He just thought you wanted tomatoes on your burger. I don't know. Mega, thank you for the $4 super sticker. But yeah, this to me, this has to be Roman Reigns. And because I do think that we're still going to get at some point Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker. That seems to be the bigger thing, that they're building to. And right now, Bronson Reed's in the Batista position. Braun Breaker's Randy Orton and says Triple H. If this is Evolution, still a mystery, but yes. So Braun Breaker is going to be the guy that might actually beat Roman Reigns. Bronson Reed's not going to be the guy that beats Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah, because Braun Breaker is their next top guy. You know, I think that's what they're, building to and everything of that sort. So, yeah, Braun Breaker is going to be the guy that pin Roman Reigns, not Bronson Reed. Totally agree there.
Right. Yeah. Braun Breaker is going to be your guy that's WrestleMania main eventer for years.
Right.
Hate to sound like Paul Heyman, but speaking of a Paul, though, we've got John Cena versus Logan Paul. Does it work that way?
It could work that way.
I don't want it to work that way.
Well, obviously everybody knows what I'm about to say. I have not watched a John Cena match on his retirement tour since WrestleMania. And that continues this coming Saturday or Sunday, whenever Clash in Paris is. I think it's Sunday. Yeah, definitely have no feelings. I don't care about this match. Maybe I should just pass the torch to you.
Even though he's a babyface now, you're still over it. We wiped his heel turn from our memories because he said, "I failed you."
But I've never liked Cena, so it doesn't matter if he's heel.
What he made you a CM Punk fan, and you said the same thing about Philip Seymour Punk.
That's definitely different. I'm never going to be a John Cena fan.
You won't get emotional in Massachusetts on December when he's out
Absolutely there. Absolutely not. These tear ducts would be dry.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have to take this to court over John Cena. But I might summons you. Then again, there's other court proceedings that might be before us and all of that. So if you know, you know. But this has to be John Cena. This has to be John Cena. It'll be a good match. I had to even say the other night yes, I don't like Logan Paul as a person, but he's probably the best celebrity crossover that there's been in pro wrestling. Dare I say history? The guy gets it. He is still a douchebag. But he can actually go in the ring. He has the big spots, the big moments, the shit that's going to go viral, even if it's not for you or I, because I'm older and all of that. But John Cena's got to win this here. If John Cena's going on to take on Brock Lesnar, does this close out the show?
That's a good question.
Last time John Cena in Paris?
I mean, it may close out the show. I do feel like maybe the world title match should, but this being John Cena's last time in Paris, this could be, the main event, because you could have another Lesnar, appearance at the end of the show.
That is exactly why I brought that up, my guy. I appreciate that you nailed that, because yeah, that's why I think this match may end the show, because you end it with dun 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 dun, and you're gonna get the Brock appearance in Paris, not in a match, but he's gonna F5 again, or just take John Cena to Suplex City, and maybe we even get a Suplex City bitch as he throws down the mic or whatever, or see at whatever. Do we hear anything from Brock? But I feel this show ends on Brock. If you're gonna start the hype up train for WrestlePalooza, the show that everyone loves and hates at the same time, but it makes everyone remember when All Out is, that you start this build now. You have the big international crowd, so you know that they're gonna cheer just because of Brock and because of the moment. So you have that now. You can play that for a week or two while Brock fucks off until we get closer to September.
Right, right. And I think he's been advertised for a couple of dates in September. And I think they said WrestlePalooza that Johnson is gonna face somebody that he hasn't faced in almost a decade, which lines up basically with Brock Lesnar being that opponent. So yeah, I could see this definitely being the main event. Lesnar coming out, and then Lesnar takes a week off and then comes back to build up the match towards WrestlePalooza. So I think I'm in agreement with you with this being the main event. I don't want it to be the main event, but I can see it being the main event because of the involvement of Lesnar.
It will be the main event. It won't be the best match. I'll give you
Right,
that.
right, right.
Um, I do agree with this. Cena wins. Brock squashes. Entire pay per view is paint by numbers. That's why I say this might be a little watercoloring of the color all the one boxes red, color all the two boxes blue. That this has to be John Cena wins here, because then we have probably the Brock moment, and even then, still, even if we don't get Brock, then it's still John Cena on the retirement tour. Do
Right.
you give one of John Cena's last losses on his career to Logan Paul? I have to actually say it out loud. You're gonna actually give Logan Paul that over John Cena on the retirement tour? No, 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 no.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this is all John Cena. Um, and I mean, if they give it to Logan Paul, that means they see something big in Logan Paul. But other than that, I think this is all Cena.
Well, Josh out here saying Logan Paul wins via Brock Lesnar. Does Brock Lesnar give
Via
him a
Brock
DQ
Lesnar.
win? Oh, yeah. No. Uh, John Cena's coming off of just having to turn back babyface, of admitting that 6 months of his retirement tour didn't equate to shit, really, or just kind of we pretend to forget about that. It's like Jordan on the Wizards. We don't talk about it. That now he's got to get back on. He just lost the world title to Cody and everything. He needs a win. Of do we just get to where John Cena's so battered and beaten down when he's about to take on Brock Lesnar in what allegedly might be a last man standing match?
Is
I've
that
heard
what's
that
being
rumor thrown
rumored?
around that
Oh
they'll do
Lord.
that as a last man say. Well, because again, is this Brock's last match? Is this John's last match? Well, John's got other dates, but is this clearly going to be probably their last match against each other? Is this
Right.
Brock Lesnar's last match?
Could be definitely Brock Lesnar's last match in WWE. Um, I didn't hear the rumor of it being potentially being a last man standing match, but I can see that happening.
Why deviate from what works just to be unpredictable? I don't get that. They have a story they are telling, but they were on a trend of being unpredictable, and now they've gotten to where they're predictable. That's the thing, is even still within, well, WrestleMania 41 wasn't the best example, but they've had their moments to where they've been unpredictable. I think it's 40 seems like around like that era, like that time is when WWE is at its peak of they made you feel anybody could win at any time, and now we know where the ship's going, so just tell us when to get off.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I see where you're kind of coming from, Nick, with that, and I kind of agree with you. I feel like we are more in the predictable route right now. It's just how WWE is, to be honest, right now.
But that's a bit of an issue. And granted, they
Yeah,
could
it
still
it is an issue.
surprise us and pivot. I mean, they pivoted within this whole story of pivoting from John Cena being a heel to he cuts one promo on SmackDown and he's back a babyface. So they will pivot and go unpredictable, but it's one of those you almost can see the end game of where they're going. So the road, we're not turning off on this exit.
Right, right. I mean, I kind of wish, we would get some of that, and I feel like we get a lot of like unpredictability in TNA, sometimes
Right.
because obviously I can't predict a TNA show for anything. Just ask MDB. Um, but yeah, I like the unpredictability, and they did it earlier this year, with the women's title where we had Rhea Ripley beat Liv Morgan and we thought Rhea Ripley was going to be the one walking into WrestleMania as Women's World Champion, and obviously it was Io Sky. They moved us there and shook us there, so they can definitely do that. They can definitely
Well,
do
they've done unpredictable with the cash-ins, even of with Naomi and
yeah,
Seth Rollins, especially. So they can do unpredictable, but there is more obvious pathways than there are the unpredictable moments. I'll say that,
yeah, absolutely, 100% agree.
right? But Damien, I think another Damien of I think your new name of talking about Roman's interview with Steph, which I've seen clips of. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Of
Ooh, I need to
he
watch that.
even Yeah, and well, he even mentions a couple of things, and it's a really good. It's probably respectfully the best interview Steph's done, and I think it's more of just because it's Roman Reigns, not to glaze the tribal chief, but I'll glaze the tribal chief a bit, of to where he even talks about how he still wants to try and be an actor and a pro wrestler. Like he's going the John Cena route a bit of trying to do both at the same time. So for everyone that thinks, we're in the twilight of Roman, it seems like he's doubling down.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go watch that. I actually have watched a couple of episodes of Stephanie's podcast, and I've actually really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna definitely tune into the Roman Reigns episode.
Okay, so you're someone who's actually watched it. So is it not? Is it actually enjoyable, or is it one of
I,
those
I
of like,
really
hey,
enjoyed it. The
here's
ones
WWE brought to you by WWE?
the ones I've really enjoyed were the first one I've ever watched was the Dominic Mysterio one. That was
Uh-huh.
that was a fun one to watch. I've watched the one with obviously Naomi. That was a good one. The one with Bianca Belair, I think it was.
Hmm.
I like that one. I actually like the Cody Rhodes podcast too. I don't know if anybody's watched
Him with
that
Kevin
one.
Owens was great.
Yeah, I've watched the Damian Priest one, the Ricky Saints one. Like I've actually watched both of those podcasts. The one that surprisingly I'm not really a big fan of is the one that involves the Undertaker. I don't really like that one for some reason.
Oh,
But
6 feet under. You don't like Michelle McCool?
I like Michelle McCool and I like Taker. I did watch the one where Taker and McCool had Charlotte on there. I thought that was a
Hmm.
cool one. But there was another one that I watched, and I just it was two of them that I watched. I just didn't really like. I don't know. Maybe it's just I think Stephanie and Cody Rhodes just give a different feel than Undertaker and Michelle McCool, and I really vibe with Stephanie and Cody Rhodes more.
Fair enough. Well, MDB is a big fan of you watching Stephanie's podcast. I don't know if this is a hot take. Last thing we'll say on WWE's own podcast of 6 feet under with Undertaker was a lot better when it actually had its original host instead of Michelle McCool, and it became very much more of a WWE thing. But
Uh
moving on, yes, well, we're on to the potential,
Main
also
event.
alleged main event, the fatal four way for the world heavyweight title, the one that anybody could win. Who knows? Allegedly, of LA Knight versus CM Punk versus Jey Uso versus Seth Rollins.
This should be fun. This should be fun. You got four top guys in there, right? You got LA
Mhm.
Knight, you got Jey Uso, Punk, and Seth Rollins, the champ. And I know we all pretty much could be circling back to Seth and CM Punk soon, throwing LA Knight. And I'm not a big LA Knight fan, but throwing LA Knight in there, he has a star potential. He has it, and he could become world champion in WWE one day. So I think that's perfect. Jey Uso's been world champion, held the Raw brand down for a few months there. So this looks to be a good fatal four-way. Could be potential match of the night, depending on how that Donnybrook match goes. I think this could be a runner for match of the night.
Oh, this will be match of the night. It's not an elimination, it's a straight up fatal four way, because I saw someone saying that Jey Uso should be the first one out of. There's no elimination here. And who do you think takes the pin here? Biggest question, I guess.
I think the person that could take the pin is Jey Uso.
Ooh.
And I'm only saying that because Jey Uso has already touched the mountaintop with the world title, right? Mm-hmm. And then I don't have, because I have Seth Rollins retaining. Prediction: Seth Rollins retains.
Spoiler.
I don't think CM Punk takes the pin. And if you're just now putting LA Knight in the world title scene, I feel like he shouldn't take the pin. Right, one person in this match that shouldn't take a pin, I feel like it's LA Knight. CM Punk could take a pin if he wanted to, but I feel like the logical person taking the pin is Jey Uso.
Oh, see, you touched on my pick mighty heavily in there and everything. And Ricky, I believe Jey Uso will be the newest member of Seth's stable. How and why? I at this point, I don't know how we would get there. It doesn't make much sense. I like Jay taking Roman's advice and hitting Punk with the super kick and everything. So no loyalty amongst anybody out here. But I can see where Jey Uso takes a pin to protect the person that I think takes a pin in LA Knight. I think LA Knight is the one that, out of everybody here, he's probably the most likely to take the pin, just because Jey Uso is Jey Uso. He's still out there on the Minute Maid juices. He's still out there, yeeting with the crowds and everything. Had the whole bit with, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins still kind of actively involved there. CM Punk, I think, is a long end game here for Seth. LA Knight kind of feels again like the odd man out of it. I hate that it's that way, because ever since he was in the match to where Seth faked the knee injury, he's still just felt like the square peg in a round hole with all of this. And I want him to work. He fits there, but he's just not the guy.
You feel like LA Knight is not the guy
right now?
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree with you there, because I'm not like the biggest LA Knight fan. I think he has what it takes.
I just think out of these four, he's the weakest out of the four, and that's not an insult. It's just you're amongst gods, you're amongst titans out there.
No, 100% agree. 100% agree, and I can see your point of LA Knight taking the pin, because he's not as big as the other three guys. That's definitely.
But if he doesn't, then I can see very much your point of Jey Uso would be the next guy to do it, and it almost might be more impactful if Jay does it. If, like Ricky was saying and everything, if Jay starts to turn or whatever, if some people think that he needs to end up with Seth somehow, that could be a way, or does that move Jay away from the world title and we get back to Jimmy and Jade, because that's been rumored for a while. So it might actually be Jay, because that's how you kick him out of the picture,
and you get them back together as a tag team,
because you move Jay. Yeah, because you get the Usos back together as a tag team, because Raw needs a fucking good tag team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know when he dropped the world title, I said immediately put Jay and Jimmy back together, right? And Raw, like you said, Raw needs some tag teams. Raw is struggling in the tag team division. And having those two immediately put back together, immediately put back in the tag team division, raises the Raw tag team division back up. So I like that idea, and I feel like if Jay takes the pin here, they can definitely go that route. I mean, even in the documentary on Netflix, like Jay
The
said,
Unreal.
sometimes I be looking over my shoulder because I'm looking for my brother to tag out because I get gas, right? So
Well, and is that where, yeah, and 100%, trust me, if that's why, I appreciate you, my brother. Sometimes I be gassed. But is that a way to you help strengthen the Raw tag team division? You help LA Knight be a thing, and because I like this really from Richard of LA Knight might never be the guy of if you slide Jay to a tag team with Jimmy, you can either put him with Jacob, they help with the MFT, what have you, and it gives Jimmy something because Jimmy's been floating kind of in the abyss. He's become the
Mhm.
second hand man to Jacob Fatu and all of this, and now Naomi's ain't got nothing to do. So help a brother out, and it helps keep LA Knight's momentum going because that's the biggest thing is I don't want LA Knight to be the guy that takes the pin, but I feel like he's going to be the guy that takes the pin if it's not going to be Jay
Yeah.
because Seth and CM Punk is the match of I don't know at this point which comes first of Seth versus Punk or Seth versus Roman. I think Seth versus Punk might be a thing you do because we've done it before, and Seth versus Roman you build it on 10 years of history. But those are the Seth versus Punk is the match you're coming out of this with. Seth retains here. I don't the title doesn't change hands, especially with just the start of a new faction. And if
Oh
it
yeah.
does, it would only be a Punk. Sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said at the beginning, when we started talking about this match, this is easily Seth. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, honestly, that Seth doesn't walk out with the world title. This is all Seth. I think the funnest part of this is who's taking the pin, right?
Right.
But we all know Seth is walking out world champ.
At this point, it kind of has to be
Yeah,
of again, he's doing so much with it of he's still and it's going to be interesting of the most we've seen Seth really wrestle was the cash in since
that's
this alleged
true.
knee injury. So see now here in this match of how much is it still of shoot or not shoot? Are you going to sell it? Are you not going to sell it? Of either way, this is going to be match of the night because of the caliber of the talent. And it's going to be one of those of you're going to have your moments where even though we say it's so obvious Seth's going to win, there's going to be a moment you believe LA Knight could win. There's going to be a moment you believe Jey Uso could win. There's
Yep.
going to be probably one or two moments where you believe CM Punk could win.
Yep. Absolutely, absolutely. I think you just said it best right there. There's going to be a lot of moments in here where um each one of these men could potentially win this match. Is this Seth Rollins' first match back since winning the title? Has he wrestled on Raw or anything?
No, because it's always been Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker,
On
or it's
Breaker,
been them
yes.
as a tag team. He hasn't done anything since the cash in.
Okay, so this will yeah, this is gonna be good. Like you said, really feel like this could be matching the night. It should be matching the night, hopefully.
If it's not, I almost feel like we're in for a good show, like an
Yeah.
even better show, because it's not of that I think it's going to fail. It's that I think it's going to be so good that if someone outdoes it, then it's a really great show.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with you. That's 100% there. If some match outdoes this one, that means they delivered in every facet of the card.
Right. Well, speaking of delivering in any facet of the card of, well, at least in the shirts, I guess, because that's the slide that's up there. We get your merch of hashtag we shirt people. But we've gone through every facet of the card, sir,
We
at
have.
this point. Of again, we talked more about the undercard than the overcard because again, on one hand, you just kind of know it's going to be good and you know who's going to win a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Um, I'm still hoping that the match quality is better than the build going into it, I'll say.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think the match quality will outshine the build to this pay-per-view. And there's a few matches that have been, I feel like, built correctly. Like, even though the crowd is not into it, Rusev and Sheamus has been fun, at least for me. We went in about Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch. The back and forth between them have been cool. So there's two matches right there that had decent feuds going into to Clash.
Well, some of the best built matches on this feel like they're the most obvious of choices of who's going to win. Like Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed has been built up well, with Bronson Reed getting himself over with the tribal thief, but you know he's not going to win.
Right.
Of the Fatal Four Way has been great out there. They even just ended Raw earlier this week, to where literally your closing shot is, well, you have Jay going to Roman for advice, and then he turns around and super kicks CM Punk to end the show there. So it's showing that anybody can turn on anybody, if anybody can be doing anything. So it's going to lead to that, anybody can win at any time. So they've had some depth in here. It's just, can they show it out there?
Yeah, can they bring it out? Could they, capitalize on it at Clash in Paris? And they have the opportunity to do so.
Right. But again, folks, we are the WFU out there. We're anti-IWC. Yes, I know that's the prediction show, but yes, we'll be here Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time, I believe, for Clash in Paris, Real Nickies in Paris. And don't forget, tomorrow, I know they're going live early because they're overseas for SmackDown. So again, no spoilers in the chat and all of that. But we'll be out here for Friday Night SmackDown when it's available in the US, because, some people's got to work during the days and everything. We ain't doing this
Right.
full time yet. So sometimes we, help us keep growing and jiving and everything, and then we can do this full time, and we'll be here live fully all the time when they're live. But we'll still be here at 7:30 for Friday Night SmackDown, the go home show for Clash in Paris. Do you have any final words, final thoughts, of notes you want to leave people with, sir?
No final thoughts. Go out there and watch TNA, because we got a big Ash by Elegance segment tonight. So be prepared to watch TNA. Other than that, like Nick says, be back tomorrow for SmackDown at 7:30 and Clash in Paris on Sunday.
Oh, you would ask this, Jose, at the very end, and I see you AR1 and all of that. But what's up with Raw starting at 7 now? Last thing briefly. Raw might be moving early. So again, make sure you hit that bell notification and everything, because you never know when we might be showing up, especially with all these early shows out there, all these UK European shows. But yeah, Raw might be moving up an hour to see how it does against Monday Night Football.
Yes, and I think it's 3 episodes of Raw doing that. In
Yes,
September, I think. So yeah, like Nick says, be on the lookout for the notifications, because when Raw is live, when any other shows are live, we will be live as well.
we cover more wrestling than any other channel out there. But folks, our shit is real, our shit is raw, our shit is authentic. When you're talking about that wrestling, you put that for life with it.
See you tomorrow for SmackDown.